These days, people generally associate smudging with sage, so we'll start here before moving on to cedar, sweetgrass, and more. And I'm not talking about culinary sage. It's wild sage that we want to work with. You can either buy it or harvest it in the wild or grow it yourself. I'll get to how you do that. To native people, it's used for purification in the sweat lodge as medicine, and in a tea used for restoration after long hikes or competition or vision quests. Natives in North America have always known that sage smoke dispels negative energy. Now there's scientific proof of that. New research reveals that smudging with sage works as an antiseptic. The article, Medicinal Smoke Reduces Airborne Bacteria, published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology in 2007, reported on a University of Witwatersrand study that found a 94% reduction in the bacterial count of a room that had been treated for 1 hour by smudging with medicinal herbs. Now, 1 hour is a long time to be smudging, and would likely set off smoke detectors, but it's good to know it brings about some reduction in bacteria. And once again, our native elders understand both the spiritual and physical realms better than modern humans. Smudging with sage clears the energy of yourself, your friends, your spiritual instruments, and your home. I smudge my entire home at least weekly to clear old energy. This is a story from Bearheart about how sage came to the people. A long time ago, there was a village in North America where it seemed like things were going from bad to worse, to the point that things of a negative nature seemed to be predominant. Things were going wrong. Craftsmen were making mistakes in their work. People were making accusations against one another. People were accused of practicing evil. There was a whole lot of discord among the people, friends and neighbors having falling outs, not allowing the children to play with the neighbors' children. Many things like that were happening. All of a sudden, a young boy, around 13 or 14 years old, showed up in the village with a bundle in his arms. And as soon as he arrived, he asked to see the elders of the village. When they were summoned, he asked them to sit in a circle. As they did so, he said, "I have this plant I want you to look at. You'll recognize it when you see it again because it will be growing in this area. It's called sage. It's going to enable you to handle all the negative things that are blowing around this whole camp. That's why I was sent to you. And so, please pass it around and smell it." As they did, they began to feel good towards one another, and then, while they were doing that, he built a fire very quickly. When the sage came back to him in the circle, he put coals in a file using his bare hands. Then he put all the sage on it and said, "I want you to smudge yourself with this smoke." And he showed them how to draw it over themselves. While they were smudging themselves, each one suddenly began to feel good about the person next to him. They were so busy acknowledging one another, when they looked again for the boy, he had disappeared. They didn't know where he came from or where he went. That's a story from Bearheart of how sage came to the people. As for when and why to smudge, smudging is often the first step in any indigenous ceremony. It helps bring the participants into the present, helping to clear the stress of their day and other distractions. There's no limit to the situations where smudging can be of benefit. Smudge yourself off with sage when you get home from work each day, or when you've had an upsetting incident. Smudge the participants at the beginning of a meeting or ceremony in order to help everyone become centered and present. Clear an area where there's been an upset by burning sage. If you have spiritual instruments, it's good to smudge them regularly, such as feathers, fetishes, crystals. Burn the sage and draw the objects through the smoke 4 times. Smudge your home on a regular basis, smudging towards an open window, particularly if you've moved into a new home. You want to clear out the energy of whoever lived there before you. Are you planting a garden? Smudge the seeds, both before and after planting, so as to give them a good start. If you receive something that has been used by others, such as a purchase from a thrift store, smudge it with sage before using it in order to eliminate the energy of the previous owner and create a new start for yourself. It also helps to restore balance after trauma. Smudge yourself when you wake up in the morning to dispel any negativity from the day before or that came up in your dreams. Bathe yourself in the smoke to purify your energy field by drawing the smoke over yourself 4 times. Over your heart as you say harmony. Over your head as you say humor. Down your front saying humility. And then behind you saying honesty. You're drawing these qualities into yourself as you do so. I do this every morning. To smudge, you will need sage, either loose leaves or a smudge stick, such as the one pictured here, an abalone shell, or anything that can handle the heat of the burning sage, a lighter or matches, a feather to help fan the smoke, although this is optional. If you buy sage, ask how it's gathered. Make sure it's gathered with prayer and that they didn't pull it out by the roots. If you pull a plant up by the roots, it won't grow back. And that's disrespectful to the medicine of both the plant and Mother Earth. Practice so you know how much smoke your sage will create. You don't want to set off smoke detectors. Of course, doing it outside is good too. I have personally never set off a smoke detector when burning sage. However, when doing a house blessing, where there will be a lot of smoke for a while, I remove the batteries. Light the sage and let it burn for about 10 to 10 seconds before blowing the flame out so you have smoke. Then start your smudging. In a group, pass the abalone shell around so everyone can smudge themselves. If you have a feather, you can use it to send out the smoke over the people or in different directions. You can also take fresh sage and bundle it into a ball and light it. Clean your hands in the smoke and think good thoughts and pray. Direct the smoke towards an open window or door to release whatever the sage pulled out. The abalone shell will get hot at the bottom, so hold it carefully or put it on a trivet. When you're done, you can put out the burning sage by pressing it into the abalone shell or the ground, and when you're done, return the ash to the ground. In the house, I use a small jar with sand at the bottom to put the sage out. As for how to get sage, in the old days, when they reached adolescence, native youth were taken down to the sage fields and introduced to the sage plants ceremonially, asking permission of the spirits of the plant to be able to pick it. That's how things were done in the traditional way, with great respect. When I started out many, many years ago in California, there weren't that many places to buy it, so we picked our own. Luckily, there were a lot of places to pick white sage in Southern California. However, due to drought, white sage is harder to find these days, so we use other types of sage. Now, the ideal would be to find it wild or to grow your own. If you're going to buy it, I would recommend any Native American-owned business, because you know it will have been picked respectfully. Prairie Edge, also known as the Sioux Trading Post in South Dakota, would have honorable sage. The other thing you can do is pick your own, always making an offering of tobacco, as we discussed above. Never pick all the sage in one area. Leave some so it looks as though you were never there. That's the ideal. If you've read Robin Kimmerer's book, Braiding Sweetgrass, she points out that when respectfully harvested, crops of medicinal herbs come back very fast. and never pull it out by the roots. The best time of year to pick is the summer. Approach the plants. There will usually be many in the area, and make your offering to one plant you designate as the grandparent plant. Ask permission to take just a little sage, explaining that you will use it for prayer or purification. Ask that the plants not feel pain when you cut some of it. Ask for protection and abundance for the green nation, and express your gratitude for the gifts that sage brings. So here I am at the lone sage plant I have in my yard, and I'm going to prune some to take for making sage bundles for prayer. And if I had a lot of sage plants, I would choose a grandmother plant to make my offering to, but this is my only one. So I make this offering praying for prosperity and abundance and continued long life for all the sage nations. That this plant feels no pain when I cut it, and it will continue growing in a good, harmonious way. And I have a nice bundle that I'm now going to show you how to wrap. So now I'm going to show you how to wrap a sage bundle for sage that you've picked yourself. You start at the bottom and you wrap like a bunch of times so you secure the bottom. And then you tie a knot to hold it in place. And then you go diagonally up and then back down. Tie it to hold it securely. Again. And then you want to make a loop to hang it from. So you tie a knot at the end of your loop. And then you have something you can hang to dry. This is my friend Denise, and we're at her Gardens of Living Beautifully Free in Corrales, New Mexico. And I'm going to demonstrate how to smudge someone using Denise as my model. So you would start at the head, going up over the head, and then down one side, down the other side, down their legs, go around to the back. Hold out your hands. Drop them. And the last thing you do is draw an X over the front to seal it. Also, you can just hold your container with smoke and pass it around them. And then go around the back. If you wanted to use copal to smudge someone, you'd use your incensario. I have a charcoal that's lit and burning in there. Place my copal on top, and it will start to smoke. That's some nice smoke
It
there.
smells good.
Yeah. I just envelop them in smoke. Get your arms, go around the back. And if you wanted to smudge them off with cedar, you would do it the same way. Use a charcoal, put the cedar on top, and you'll get a lot of wonderful smoke for smudging. That's it.